Just a few days ago, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention issued a new mask guidelines. Under the new guidelines, most Americans and most of the country can now go mask-free. And thanks to the progress we've made in the past year, COVID-19 no longer need control our lives. I know some are talking about living with COVID-19, but tonight I say that we never will just accept living with COVID-19. We'll continue to combat the virus as we do other diseases. And because this virus mutates and spreads, we have to stay on guard.
So essentially, in the middle of Biden's State of the Union address, he took a break for a Pfizer advertisement. He took a Pfizer ad break. That's essentially what that was. A couple of things. First of all, the idea of producing a new vaccine in 100 days, as Biden promised, is terrifying. I would never in a million trillion years, ever, not ever, allow a vaccine that had only taken 100 days for production to be injected into my body. That is horrifying. That is not something that we should be proud of. That's not something that we should strive for. There is no possible way that you could know that a vaccine was safe or effective if you developed it in 100 days. So that being said, the idea that Biden solved COVID is laughable. It makes me angry to hear him say that because the COVID-19 virus is doing exactly what it would do, whether Biden had imposed tyranny on us or not. The trajectory of it is exactly the same as it's always been. But the economic problems that we are facing, whether it's our businesses being closed down, whether it is a lack of a paycheck because we've lost our job, whether it is a slowing of our overall economy because goods and services ground to a halt, whether it's our supply chain crisis, whether it's our healthcare system canceling surgeries, which makes people's health problems more acute, sometimes more deadly. All of these things were not due to a virus. They were due to the Biden administration and Democrat politicians across the country who were taking cues, taking their directions from Fauci, imposing these lockdowns and this tyranny on us. This was a problem that Biden created. He created this problem, and now he's pretending to fix this problem. At the same time, he says phrases, this is a phrase, he goes, there may be a new variant. Leaving the door, what that means is he's leaving the door open to reimpose all of this tyranny on you, on me, on our families, and our businesses, and our country, whenever it suits him, whenever he thinks it would be politically advantageous. Maybe today it's advantageous for him to unmask kids in school. He needs that win. Maybe it's advantageous for this summer for people to feel free before, as Walensky, CDC Director Walensky says, before we reach for those masks again in the fall. But just because it's convenient or politically advantageous for Biden to pretend that COVID is over now, he's leaving the door open because he knows that it'll be politically advantageous at some point in the future for him to, well, have the COVID crisis be a crisis again. Exercise this tyranny over you and over me. And at the same time, as politicians have violated our liberties and destroyed our economy, he tells us, he has the audacity to tell us to stop seeing each other as enemies. And when I heard this, like I said, we were live streaming the State of the Union on the Liz Wheeler Show community on Locals. And my gut reaction to this was, how dare you pretend to tell me how I should behave morally? How dare you pretend that this is a two-way street, that I am treating you like an enemy, which I never have. I think Biden's an idiot. I think the left who impose COVID tyranny, whether it's lockdowns or vaccine mandates or mask mandates, I think that they are tyrants. They make me angry. They make me righteously indignant. I don't treat them as anything less than a child of God. I simply treat them as you would a tyrant, someone that you fight against, something that you protect yourself and your business and your family from. But to act like I'm the one treating you like an enemy when you have treated me like a diseased pathogen because I declined to inject my body with your experimental vaccine, which is not only ineffective, it is not safe. You have destroyed the humanity of our entire country by forcing us to cover our faces with an ineffective face mask. Children like my daughter are in a generation that has an IQ that is 10 points less because they can't read nonverbals. They can't see people's faces. They have developmental delays, social delays, speech delays. because of a face mask that you force people to wear over their faces. To pretend that this is a problem with how we are treating you, that we should stop viewing each other as enemies when you view us not as people, but as pathogens. As I said, this lie was the lie that made me the angriest, because what Biden has done with COVID-19, what Democratic governors across the country have done to our nation in the name of COVID-19 is this close to what Justin Trudeau did in Canada, where the gloves were off. An authoritarian dictatorship emerged, all in the name of keeping you safe. Biden is this close to that.